second cup of coffee.
I know, I haven't had mine actually.
I have the fresh pot.
I'll have some after. I'm a little hungry, and I was nervous if I had coffee on an empty stomach that I'd be able on the podcast. I'm already crazy.
I had some soup. It's like the best. You can get that Progressive or Progresso?
I think it's Progresso.
Light. So I think the whole can's 150 calories, but it fills you. It's like a process to eat.
And it's warm.
But
you
then
can't eat too quick because you need it to cool down.
Yeah, it helps. It's really good, like in between kind of meal thing. But now having it with coffee, I don't know. But it's all good. Is what it is.
Is what it is. Quarantine problems.
Yeah. Let's hop into it. Welcome, everyone, to the Freddie and Alyssa Show. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, like, comment, all that fun YouTube stuff. We've been putting up videos for a couple years, so you can take a little look around our channel and find some entertainment for you. We got a bunch of interviews that we've done. Also, we have relaunched the Cameo app, so if you want a shout-out video, a happy birthday, a goofy video, a piece of advice, a limerick, a haiku.
No.
Use your imagination.
Stop right there.
We are bookable at cameo.com/FMSmith319, and you can write the description if you'd like one from me or Alyssa or both of us. And we have all that in the description as well. Those have been fun. I've been doing a bunch of them lately, connecting with people, and so it's been really good. How are you feeling? How's everything? I go back and forth every day.
Me too.
I have a good day, bad day, good day, bad day.
Too.
And I say bad day lightly, meaning I'm not like having a bad day, but emotionally.
Well, sometimes you just get frustrated or whatever it may be, or hormonal if you're a woman.
Yeah. You've been good.
Yeah, I'm trying. I really am. I don't know. I feel pretty okay and good today. What about you?
I don't know. I feel good. It's just certain days I just don't know what to do.
Sure.
Like you just don't know. And I was trying to figure out why I feel like this. And obviously, you know, with everyone being stuck at home, that's a huge part of it. But I think it's just kind of the aftermath of just the past like yearish that we've had of just like life-changing stuff. You know, we had 3 family members very close to us pass away. We traveled last year for funerals and just like perspective of life changed. And like we were getting older and growing up and thinking of our future. And then the contracts for the show got canceled for 9 weeks, which was like unexpected. So for the first time, you're just like, oh, that's different.
Right.
And then coming back to work and then being let go and then going, okay, so this is the new normal. And then 3 weeks later, the national emergency shutdown. So I think it's just huge events in life that have all led down to this moment, because now that you have all this time to think, I try to think about like where's all of it come from?
Yeah.
But I think everybody's just in this position of naturally, because of the shutdown, we're all just like, well, what's next? We don't know how long, you know, it's like if you're doing a road trip to Jersey, you know, it's a 37-hour drive. But I feel like we're all in a car right now and there's no, you know, there's nothing. And I was so used to a constant, you know, days was a huge part of my life. It was the umbrella of everything, in a sense of you start to build a, like it becomes part of you. And that was a constant for almost 10 years. Yeah. So I think that on top of everything, and then plus like with family and babies being born, we've been talking about that a lot. I just think all of that combined, and then you have all these things in life, and then you have all this energy, and then it's just like, oh yeah, wait, you have to just stay home and deal with that.
Well, it's the unknown. Any change in life is going to be hard, difficult, weird, uncomfortable. But I feel this a lot with other people right now. People are finally getting restless. You know, you can feel it. You can see it. At first, people were really stressed out. Not to say people still aren't, because this is a huge ordeal happening, but you could really feel it. And then people kind of went through a phase of, well, I'm home, so I'm going to kind of do what I want. Like, this is that vacation maybe, you know, you always need it if it's someone who's not working.
Yeah.
And then now it's kind of getting to the point where we're all like, okay, like, when are we getting back to normal? And then you're seeing all of these protests happening outside, and people want to get back to work, all the small business owners. And it's just always, for me, goes back to perspective, because I read something today where they were explaining how for people who get to go out for walks or go to the next town and truly you can social distance, you can be outside, you can go for a beautiful hike in nature and no one's there, or they have a pool or whatever it might be. What a beautiful, amazing situation that you're in. But all these people in New York, they live in literal shoeboxes in New York City. They can't really stay home and cook because their kitchens are made for basically just like ramen. That's it. And they can't just leave their house and go out for a beautiful walk. Like, everything's perspective. So anytime I'm feeling a little weird, a little, poor me, I'm like, look, we have a great, beautiful roof over our head. We have a home podcast studio where we can go, we can work, get our creative juices flowing. Yeah. And we're lucky we can get groceries delivered. You know, like all these different types of things. I always have to make it perspective every single time.
Everyone has their unique pros and cons, if you can put it that way, of this catastrophe. There are some people who are getting a well-needed break from work, others who are losing their business, some that can't even get food, others that have plenty, others whose businesses are going to boom because of it, others whose aren't. So it's, and like you said, living in New York or living in a rural area where you have all this farmland, you know, so it's just everyone's being hit differently. But I think the thing we're all being hit with at the same time is, and I talked to one of our friends about this, it was the first time in 20 years that he's ever had 3 weeks off of work. And it's the first time that you're sitting down and you're thinking about your life. Like, there's certain nights that I'm so tired, you know, I'll hit the bed at 1 and I'm passed out. I wake up 9 hours later like, wow, this is great. Last night was one of those nights that I was up till 5 a.m. replaying my entire life in my head.
That's the worst.
Like every single thing of like good and bad. And I just think everyone who's home or who's under a deal of stress, we're all kind of, there's nothing to distract us from actually dealing with real life. Mm-hmm. Like, I think a lot of people get caught in the rat race where they're like, I want to go back to college, or I should fix this relationship, or I should go do this, or I should go make more money, or I should whatever that may be, or work on becoming a piano player. But I got to work tomorrow morning, and then the company event's happening, and then it's at my friend's wedding, and before you know it, another 6 months goes by, another year goes by, and you're in the machine. Yep. Where this is like all of us collectively, for the most part, at least, you know, tens of millions of people who are home, I think are at this point, unless it's just me, but I doubt it because I'm talking to people about it, where you're just kind of like, well, what's next? Yeah. And why? Yeah. Like, why are we you have to, it's almost like I'm redefining my purpose of like, what is the goal? Yes, you want to make money. Yes, you want to have a good life. Yes, you want to help people out. But that all is kind of generic. That's kind of a blanket statement. I think no matter who you are, you want to make enough money to live. Some people who are more money motivated, you want to make a lot of, like, I'm money motivated. I want to make a lot of money. You care about your health. You care about helping other people. You care about your family and friends. That's a blanket statement of a human being. Yeah. But there's also individuality of what is our individual purpose.
Well, because humans thrive off of purpose and goals. If you don't have them, you're going to feel like not too great. Yeah. And that's what I think a lot of people are dealing with right now. And, you know, this is just a segue. Everyone's going through it. There's not one person who isn't. There are people out there who are working every single day in the ER, and they are going through some major, major trials and tribulations right now. Yeah. You know, they are sleeping in their car because they don't want to bring this home to their kids. There's that happening, and then there's the other half of the world, some who are working from home, some who, you know, unemployed, doing nothing. And that, I can't imagine what that feeling is like, going, like, my job is not going to be there when this all like, that's really scary.
But this happens all the time. The pandemic is just kind of highlighting it, but there's these differences in everybody's life. Even before this, everyone's being impacted differently. Someone just lost their mom. Someone just got pregnant. Someone just got fired. Someone just got their dream job. Someone just got, you know, booked their dream role. You know, somebody else lost their significant other, went through a divorce. Like, everyone's kind of just on this roller coaster, but now it just seems more pinpointed.
You just never know what cards you're going to get dealt, ever.
Yeah, and you have to just, like, problem solve. And, you know, that's what I just kept thinking of is I've always kept grateful and positive, because I'm like, every single struggle we've gone through was a learning experience that I can actually pull from and I can actually share in real data of myself, what I learned from that experience. But you also think in the future where you're like, well, it's got to lead to something great, right? We put all these obstacles because it has to lead somewhere great. You just don't ever want to have this fear where you're like, you wake up and you're 72 and you're just like, wow, like life was kind of really tough, but also had great moments. And you're like, oh, this is all for the you know what I mean? Like at one point you want to make a huge change in your life and you know, and find out what that is. And that's what I'm just going through right now of just, you know, we're getting to that age about kids and family and where to move. And like, these are huge life decisions.
Yeah.
And I think we would have been at this position with or without the pandemic.
Of course.
That's the stage of our life. So on top of that, we already would be going through this. It's now, we don't know when we can do anything. So it's just an interesting kind of dialogue I'm going back and forth with and like trying to figure out what to do.
I always tell you, all we can do at this current moment is just take it day by day. Because it's out of our control. It's out of our hands. You can only control what you can control. So, you know, the small little wins, like even us starting Insanity yesterday, because we both were like, okay, it's time to like get our bods back out of this quarantine bod and get in shape. That we can control.
Yeah.
We're going to work out after we shoot this and we're going to keep it going. You know, obviously continuing to do our podcast and other projects we're working on from home, we can control that. Everything else with the moving with the kids, I mean, you can't plan it right now. You just can't because we don't know what's going to happen.
And I'm aware of that. I know the answer.
Just frustrating AF.
But I still can't deny the thoughts that I have.
Sure.
I understand there's no decision I can make. You can only look at houses so much. You can only plan so much. You can only crunch the numbers so many times. I understand all we can do is do our photo shoot today, do all our emails today, do our Insanity, do our podcast, do the editing, make the most of the day. Like, I understand that, but that's almost like a practice. Like, you have to choose that because then you'll drive yourself crazy if you don't. So, but that has definitely helped. Like the whole workout, like my body, I feel incredible, sore as hell.
We did. It was Insanity we did Insanity
Max 30
cardio. So we did 30 minutes of straight cardio, and I mean, for me, I haven't done cardio in a hot minute, and I was dying. We both were. We were sweating everywhere. We had to clean the floors after.
You were dying more like lung capacity. I was dying more like my joints.
Well, mine was also physical as well. But I mean, it was just high intense cardio. I haven't done that in a long time. I used to run all the time and then I had that injury, so it was more conditioning, physical therapy. But knock on wood, I'm just super sore today.
Yeah. Well, I think we wanted to get our heart rate out because the past year, anytime I would go to the gym and weightlift, I never really got my heart rate up. It was more strength.
Sure.
And then anytime you walk, I'd walk 4 or 5 miles, which is good for calorie burning.
Yeah.
But you never get your heart rate up. And then the same thing with my band workouts I've been doing. It's just good for muscles, but it doesn't get your heart rate up. This 30 minutes... It was the first time I actually poured sweat on the floor. And I'm like, what have we been doing? So I put on my Apple Watch again. I'm going to track my calories because I want to see, I didn't have it on yesterday, what we're going to do today. But you can find it online. That's the other thing. You know, as this continues, as we continue to reopen and stuff, it's like until we feel safe going out, you have an instructor right in your computer. So we looked it up. We found a program to pay for, and you get access to all these different
crazy
workouts. So we're going to do this 60-day thing with Insanity, and it's done in 30 minutes. So I'm like super pumped about that, which will be really good.
Yeah, I'll be curious to do today's because I'm definitely feeling it. And I also want to be careful, too. I don't want to get any injuries from past injuries, you know.
Yeah, you just got to take it slow. We'll build up to it.
Because yesterday we were going for it because we've been athletes our whole lives. So we're like, oh, this is fine. I got this. We're doing it. I'm like, careful, you didn't stretch.
My mind and body is different now. I still have the mentality of I remember what I used to be able to do. Yeah. And now I'm like, oh, wait, I can't push my body. I have to build my body back up to that. But
that's the worst, though, because anytime when I used to work out or run in the past, mentally, completely fine. I could get through any workout, any run. But as I've gotten older, obviously, after the car accident, there are, you know, injuries and stuff that you have to be careful about. You're like, but my mind can do it. It's just my body. So we're going to work through that.
We will. No, I'm good. I just want to add it into my life, and we've been really organizing now, and I think the world, it's interesting how human beings, like, we all went through this phase. Everyone's at this phase now where I'm like taking more responsibility of, like, even with my, this sucked. My Bank of America app is, the Face ID doesn't recognize my face with my beard. And I was trying to just organize some stuff in the bank, and because I tried it so many times, I thought it was fraud. So I had to go through all the steps. But it had my old personal line, not my business phone number, attached to the bank. Oh, and I no longer have that number. So they're like, you have to call. And I've called the last couple days. The first day I called, they're like, it's a 56-minute wait time. I go, yeah, right. The next day, 2 hours and 40-minute wait time. And then yesterday, over 3-hour wait time to get through. So one of these days, I'm going to have to just call and leave my phone on for 3 hours and handle that.
What did your fiance tell you the first time you called and it was 56 minutes?
Oh, just have patience.
Yeah, I said put on speakerphone in the other room and go back and check.
I know. I got to wait. I got to wait and see. And, but, so we'll see. And then another thing I was really interested that got pushed back was the Daytime Emmy nominations.
That's right. They were supposed to come out on the 27th?
April 27th. So I was like, I wonder if I was nominated or who from the cast was nominated or the show or all the cast, the crew, everybody. But I think they pushed it now to like early May.
They did. I looked up an article on it, and they definitely for sure have canceled the entire ceremony. They're not going to postpone it. It's just canceled.
Yeah.
But they were saying, too, how it would be interesting because the following year there might be a lot of content that is on their app that is all, from home, from web series type stuff, because it's really going to be hard to have nominations for shows if they're not able to go back into production. We don't know. Hopefully they are.
Yeah.
Depending on content. So I don't know. It's a really interesting read just to kind of see the evolution of where things might go.
Yeah, it's also going to be interesting because they're doing like a YouTube festival film now, where you like your YouTube has some sort of thing. But I think what's eventually going to happen is that if you have so many categories, yes, more people can get recognized, but the more awards you have, the less I feel like the less weight they hold.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like if there were 17 different Emmy kind of things, they're like, oh, you got one of, like, an Oscar is so, it's created to be a thing. Same thing at the Emmy, but you want to have people's work be recognized.
Of course.
But then it's also, where is that all going? Because how can you recognize a $1 million production, but why can't you recognize people nowadays who can take a camera and film a web series that is moving, that is brilliant, that is funny, or whatever it is? You're going to gauge it based on what? The production? It should be the story and how people make it feel and how it's built. So I think it should open up to way more people, way more actors, way more opportunity.
I especially think Daytime for sure will.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of, even talk shows. And now if they can't do that in-studio audience, it's going to either be just the talk shows or there might be, YouTube shows or podcasts. Like, who knows what it will turn into.
It just depends on how much all these things cost. Mm-hmm. And because if people are going to be able to, if someone was making hypothetically $1 million and it cost $600,000 to make, and now the advertising goes down, they're just going to figure out a way to go, well, we got to cut the budget from $600,000 a show down to $300,000 a show so we can make up that difference, because advertising is now going to YouTube and all these different platforms. But I like looking at the entertainment and content world because we're on both sides. Mm-hmm. We are like everyone else in the sense of we love good movies, good TV, good podcasts, we're on the consumption side, but we're also on the producing side.
Right.
So I'm fascinated in so many ways on what is all this? What is all this? There is so much to watch. Where does this all go? Where do all the people go? How competitive is it going to? How competitive will it become? People are starting to be put out of business. Like, the online world is taking out traditional in so many ways.
Yep.
and it's just interesting to watch. So we're just trying to do our part and produce great content because everything right now is a land grab.
That's right. Of course.
You have to grab enough to be able to make it a sustainable, profitable business to do it full time. Because back in the day, you needed to be number one. Now you can be number 27,000 and you can still make a living. So I love that it's opened up to people like us and we don't need the gatekeepers. Because I hate the games of having to go through so many different things.
Always have.
Let's just let the audience decide what they want to watch. You put it out. If it's good, people will watch it.
The market's decided.
The market has decided. So that's that.
Can you believe it was 5 years ago when you won your Emmy?
I mean,
5
at this
years.
point, yeah. Yeah.
I keep seeing in my time hop because it's always around this time that we went to the Emmys, the pre-Emmy stuff. Because we've gone to a lot of events over the years.
That one, though, worked out perfect. It was the last televised Emmy. It was at Warner Brothers.
And your parents
And
got
my
to
parents
come.
came.
It was such a great
Like,
night.
that was the year to win.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't take away from if you win now, but it's also just not the same.
It's a really special experience for sure.
Yeah. But people, yet again, now it's shifted where people are going to watch it online. Mm-hmm. I would much rather watch the Oscars through YouTube than I would through cable if they put it on YouTube streaming.
Why? Because it's easier for you?
Mm-hmm. Benjamin.
Yes.
Benjamin.
Okay, so speaking of entertainment, we've been watching a couple interesting projects. We watched Never Have I Ever on Netflix. Mindy Kaling did that. What did you think of it?
Really good. It was a really, really good show. Yeah, I would recommend Never Have I Ever on Netflix.
So good.
Was really, really good.
And it's a fun, lighthearted watch. If you feel like you're in the mood for just to be able to sit back, lighthearted, not too serious, not too dramatic, and you just want something easy, it's wonderful. Great story.
You get lost in it. And I think that's what I love the most. And I love the story. And you could tell that they didn't cast based on marketability because it's Netflix. They cast based on ability and who these people really are.
Well, you know, there was a worldwide search for them. And for the lead girl, it was 15,000 people that she beat out. And her friend saw this tweet by Mindy Kaling. And she's like, we're having a nationwide, or worldwide, actually, because she lives in Canada, open call. Send an email, send a video. And the girl who actually booked the lead role, her best friend was like, come on, we got to do this. And if it weren't for her best friend, she would have never known about it because she lived in Canada. She wasn't even trying to audition to win and be an actor in Hollywood. She was just trying to do her play at her high school.
And then boom.
Yeah. But that's why she's
beautiful.
so good.
That's beautiful.
You
Yeah,
know?
they did a good job. I think they did that for Superbad back in 2007 or 8, whenever that came out, or 6. McLovin just went. I don't think he was an actor. I think he just went, or maybe he was, but it was an open call.
Yeah.
Those are always interesting. I remember I think there was 1,000 people who auditioned for Sunny.
Really?
In 2 different groups.
Huh.
So they auditioned, the first group did a screen test, and then they actually kept Guy Wilson. Guy Wilson auditioned for Sunny.
Right.
So they did a first whole group, 7 guys. Guy Wilson was the only person of the 7 that they brought to the second group. Wow. So it was me, Guy Wilson, and like 6 others who auditioned. And it's great how Guy ended up coming back and getting a part as Will, which he more was if you look at, they went dark hair with Sunny. But yeah, I think there's about 1,000 people. Yeah, so it's just cool. Like, it's just kind of meant to be for those roles. And you could just see everyone was good. Same thing with Outer Banks. Like, these are things, if you haven't watched, like things like Too Hot to Handle, or if you're extremely bored, it's fun. But like The Outer Banks is a good television show.
It's fantastic.
The Never Have I Ever is a good television show. You know what I have mixed reviews on? I don't know what I'm missing.
What's that?
Little Fires Everywhere.
Yeah, we tried the first episode and just couldn't get into it.
I was so disconnected. I didn't believe any of it. I saw the script. These are A-list actresses.
It was just crazy because after seeing Reese in Pretty Little Lies.
Big Little Lies. And The Morning Show.
And The Morning Show.
And all her movies.
Yeah, she's fantastic. Not that she wasn't amazing in this, but there was just something off. And I don't know if it was the directing, the writing, all of the above. It just felt really disconnected. We only watched 1 ep, so.
I just expect better from A-list people.
Yeah.
Like, how would you not know that it's not connecting? 'Cause I don't understand it.
Yeah, but it's also kind of out of the actor's hands unless they see dailies every single day after they shoot and they're like, oh, that wasn't so great. They're just doing their job. They're like, hey, this is what I'm paid to do. Whatever you guys do, however you edit it, however you shoot it.
I guess depending on how you're getting a reaction to it. Everyone's like, oh my God. Like, and you're like, oh, okay, great. Then I must be in my head because actors do that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, there was something off with it. People said they loved it, so I don't know what I'm missing. But
maybe we could give it another try. I don't know.
I just don't like movies or TV shows that I can see the script. I go, they needed an insert shot here. They're panning over to them. Oh, they had to show her look to the side because to show that she's uncomfortable. It's like, we're very aware. You don't have to spoon feed us. But The Outer Banks is just people living. I forgot I was inside the screen.
Yep.
In some of these movies the same way, like these great films that we watch. Anytime I'm like, I can see the script. I can see how you thought that would be funny. It didn't land.
No. Outer Banks.
Like a Boss was terrible.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
The only things we've seen that have been terrible is Like a Boss.
Bad Therapy.
Bad Therapy
So
was just bad. And Rob Corddry, I'm a huge fan of.
I love him.
Bad Therapy, Like a Boss, and Little Fires Everywhere I did not like. Underwater we watched too.
Yeah, it was okay.
It was okay. I wouldn't say it was bad, but I don't recommend you watch it.
Yeah.
Don't watch it.
It's a good movie to put on if you're kind of doing something else and you're talking or you're on the phone.
You can kind of go to the bathroom and come back and not miss anything.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, okay, this is...
The other three, I'm offended on how badly it was done.
Well, and then we watched Contagion, which...
Oh my God, yeah.
...was so similar to what's going on today.
Everything.
How?
If you haven't seen Contagion and you want to feel uncomfortable, watch it because it's identical to what's going on.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, how's this end? And essentially they had to do the vaccine and they gave the vaccine based on your birthday. So everyone who was born, they would draw like a lottery.
Yep.
If you're born on March 10th, then you're the first people to get it all the way. So even when the vaccine's readily available back in the day or in this made up thing, if your birthday was picked first, or you might have to wait a year if your birthday was picked 365th in the lottery, you had to wait until a year after to get it. But they did the mask, they did this whole thing where you had to scan bracelets, but now we have the app, like an app you could do.
Yeah, and then they took the vaccine through the nose, which was interesting. It was more like a spray.
It was in a syringe that you would think would be a shot, but they squirted up your nose.
So
I don't know enough about
that. Was what, 10 years ago that movie came out?
11, I think, or 12, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like a little trippy and creepy if you watch it, because it's eerily similar to today's times.
Yeah.
I was like, what are we
It was
watching?
way worse.
Yeah.
It was way worse than
because
what
they died right away.
Yeah, but they kind of it was really like they mentioned, I believe, the CDC, the WHO. They mentioned, I think they even called it social distancing, and they he was mad when the boyfriend came over to see the daughter. He's like, get away from her, leave the flowers out, take the flowers. I'm not opening the door. And then the grocery stores and like.
Wild.
It was wild. It was very strange.
I
don't even know if I would have enjoyed it as much, but the fact it was so damn real to what's happening, every line made sense. I understood what they were talking about because we're living it.
Yeah.
So I would recommend that. If you're looking for a movie, Contagion, TV shows, Outer Banks, and Never Have I Ever. They're younger shows. If you're not into watching younger 20s, then...
you usually hate younger shows. I had to actually talk you into Outer Banks. I'm like, let's give it a shot. Because at first you're like, I'm not going to watch these young kids.
They're on a treasure hunt. That's dope.
I know. But it just was so remarkable. So good.
Yeah. And it's also nice, I think you mentioned this, that when you're watching like a 16... I mean, they dealt with some really heavy issues, though, so I'll give them credit. But a lot of the issues, too, in younger... shows are like my boyfriend dumped me and called me ugly, which is still a huge thing you'll always remember. I always remember the times I was bullied. I get that but when you're watching younger shows, you're kind of like, yeah, your 16-year-old boyfriend of 3 weeks broke up with you. You're like, you don't know what it's like to be 30. God knows what it's like when you have grown kids and grandkids. Like people, that's why 65-year-olds or 75-year-olds are like, oh, you 30-year-old kids. You have no idea what love is. You don't know what worry is. You don't know what anxiety is. So when you watch a show of like younger kids, the stakes for them are so high, like they were for us.
Yeah.
you know, back when we were young. And now if you ever go back in 16 and you were like, I don't care about any of this.
Can you imagine going back with the knowledge you have now?
Everyone in hindsight, yeah, everyone would, you know.
Even when we're 50, looking back at 30.
I mean, eventually I want to look back and be like, wow, I was super proud.
It.
Yeah, I didn't make tons of mistakes.
Hey, you learn from mistakes, right?
Yeah.
Continue growing into the person you're meant to be.
Well, we're risk takers, you know. It's like even for us too, I've realized like the more that I've been even like putting stuff out on social, it's like the more risk you take, even with conversation and just free speech in general, of like how you feel about something. Like it's getting to the point where I don't know how many people listen to us are thinking differently, but I can gauge it by posts. There's becoming a divide on people who are like, I'm going out, and people who are staying home. Like there's like a team. Like I'm team I don't care, I'm team stay home. So there's just everything's so you're going to irk people. So the more we talk openly on the podcast, the more I post openly on social media, you're going to get
feedback
from people who are disagreeing, and it's like it's a constant thing. I forget my whole point of bringing that up. What were you saying right before that? I think there was a point for me bringing it up.
I really can't remember.
Oh yeah. That's the whole thing. Is like the more risk you take, the more obstacles you're going to have in life. You're going to have bigger wins and bigger losses. Yep. So it's like if you're never on social media, you never have to deal with people calling you stupid. You never have to deal with the, you know what I mean? If you don't take that new job, if you don't go try that new skill, you don't have to fail and feel crappy.
Right.
But all of that is learning.
Yep.
And you can learn a lot about people. And that's why I feel like we don't have degrees, but I feel because of the amount of people we've interacted with in our life, and I'm not talking like a fan event where you say hi for 2 seconds. I'm talking true, deep interaction with human beings of all different ages, all different backgrounds from all around the United States and even in the world.
Yep.
That we have done through the 4 years of business, which we don't, for all the people who are just finding us, I feel like we have so much to share.
I know.
I want to do like a special one day where we do like a 3-hour special for like super fans who are like,
who we are.
I would just love to hear your stories because I feel we have so much. That's what I lay about and think about in bed. I'm like, people have no idea who just found us, like what our journey has been.
I know. It's been quite crazy.
Just amazing ups and downs that I am proud. As much as I make fun of myself, I am proud of the person I've become because there were so many things that could have derailed me, that made me an ungrateful person, that made me hold on to my ego. That, you know, but I was able to overcome that. I was able to start learning to be grateful about everything and have perspective and be open to learn.
Yep.
And so many people, that's what I've learned, is people aren't willing to go sit in the back of the class and work their way up over and over and over. And we do that constantly. I'm okay to be the most uneducated in a field and learn and work my way up to understanding something new that I can speak on. And I think that's one of the greatest skills that you can ever have is the eagerness to want to learn.
Yeah.
Because if you look back for 5 years and you're like, what did I learn the past 5 years? If it's nothing, then you're not growing. And once you get addicted to that, it's kind of lights out. It's almost like a weird addiction. Yeah. Where now I'm just like, well, what's today? Like, what do we got to do today?
There's no going back either.
No, and then and you're also surprised constantly. And I have to stop having expectations in certain aspects because you go, we've emailed people like to be guests on podcasts, or we've emailed brands. We understand that it's going to be this or that. And every now and then you get an email and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like some of the messages that you get back or some of the responses or lack of.
Well, but that's why too, I love every morning checking my emails because there's usually always some kind of cool surprise in there or something really interesting or...
And a fire.
Always.
Yeah.
Always. But then sometimes I'll look and I go, how did we not hear back from X, Y, and Z? You know what I mean? Like you're always on your toes and there's always something going on. And, you know, it's a really interesting time to live in.
Or having to always like take the other person's mistake. And I have to like really calm down for 15 minutes before I respond to certain people, because when there's mistakes made by people that you're working with, it frustrates me.
Of course.
And I'm just like, what? We're all doing our part here.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
You do your job, I do mine.
Yeah. And I'm just like, when you say 2 days, I expect it in 2 days. Why would you tell me 2 if it's not 2? But I have to continue to take the high road, and you have to know, we always step back and go, what do we get out of this by ripping this person?
Nothing.
What do we get out of it? So
Well, even too,
you have to take the high road and understand, like, what is the possible outcome and what do I want from this? And then reverse engineer that. Because if you go off emotion, I'm just so frustrated because we have, yet again, interacted with so many people. As much as 95% of it's been great, if you had 10,000 interactions and 9,500 have been great, you've also had 500 that have been so frustrating that you've seen that side of humanity as well, where you're just like, Jesus.
So that's why you have to expect nothing, because even last week, we needed his ear meds, and I was so grateful that the doctor was able to call it into this company that ships to your house, and they do overnight. His ear meds, they have to be refrigerated right away, so I can only assume when shipping it, there's only so long it can be out. And Friday comes along, that's when it's supposed to be delivered, and I get a call from FedEx, and they basically are stating, hey, the company said it was this unit number. Is this correct? And I go, no. And then I looked at my confirmation email. I put in the correct unit number, and FedEx was like, well, unfortunately, until they call us, we can't update this. They have to be the ones to update a new address, which makes sense. And so I looked at the time, and this company was closed all the way until Monday. So I lost Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday for his ear meds. And so I ended up writing them an email Sunday night, and I knew they'd see it first thing Monday. I'm like, can you please handle this? Time sensitive. They never wrote back. So then Monday afternoon, I called them again, and I said, can you please just send me a new product? Who knows where this package is at? It's probably damaged. And they mentioned, oh yeah, no problem. We'll get it in the mail first thing tomorrow. We'll ship it out. It'll be there by Wednesday. So last Thursday is when I placed this order, and it was overnight, paid overnight shipping, $20, and we're not going to get it now until literally 7 days later.
Yeah.
But they didn't go above and beyond, email me back. It was just kind of like, oh yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, me and Mio used to joke around because we lived in a building where there were 4 floors and our elevator was out for 3 months.
Oh my God.
And we get a letter that goes, sorry for your inconvenience. There was a woman, I remember, in the 4th floor that used to carry down her stroller with her kid. And I think they gave everyone, based on their floor level, $50 to $200 if you're on the 4th floor off the rent for 1 month. And for 3 months it was out going, sorry for your inconvenience. So me and Mio always used to make a joke that most people, that's all they say. Oh, sorry for your inconvenience. So it's just bizarre to me. It's like even, and then I have 2 different banks. I was depositing checks today in my other bank, not Bank of America, this other bank. And it goes, you've reached your daily limit of deposits. And I go, okay. So in my mind, I was like, I know the daily limit. I call the bank to go, why isn't this working? And they're like, well, the daily limit is X, or it's $2,500. And I was trying to deposit like $1,500. So I looked on the website. The website says it's $1,500 daily minimum deposit. And I did it, and it was $1,500. And I call a woman who works at the bank.
Yeah.
And doesn't know. And that has happened with this one bank. I don't want to put them on blast, but they're
bad.
They are terrible. But I have so many through business and corp and all these auto debits and all this stuff that it's going to be a pain in the ass. And now's not the time to do it, but I should have done it before this all happened. I have problem after problem after problem after problem.
You better end this now,
with
boy.
With this bank. And but yet again, it's just like, what's worth it? What's worth the battle? And so with all of this, we have to end because the damn video died on Alyssa's. So I'm going to tell you a story. Back when I was a little boy, when I first picked up this red baseball mitt, and I learned to play catch.
Abort mission.
But yeah, to wrap all this up, I just, there's just choices to make in life. Mm-hmm. And I think everyone's going through their journey. Everyone's struggling. Everyone's doing their ups and downs, obstacles, learning about stuff. And as much as I still have these feelings of fear, or my ego pops up and I get frustrated with companies or this and that, there's a line between being taken advantage of, and there's a line of you need to stay something and make, do it. But most of the time there's this happy medium where you just grateful, blessed, take the high road. And that's what I practice every day. And I wouldn't have handled things the way I handle them today as I would when I was 22.
Very true.
So to watch the growth has been interesting. But we're gonna wrap this up now.
As he goes on for 30
And
more minutes.
maybe we will figure out like a little special, and we'll do like we'll be able to do like a big
Long-form.
Q&A or something,
that.
and we can really kind of tell people like our life story soon, so that it'll be kind of an interesting watch for people who are really curious.
Love it.
But we appreciate you stopping by. Stay safe out there. Comment, like, all that fun YouTube stuff. Love ya.